Yo, what's going on guys? It's Russ and thank you for clicking on this video. Now this one I actually want to go over the multi-class system. We recently have actually learned a lot of information about all the classes. We now know what our final two are and we know a more in-depth on how multi-class is actually going to work. If you guys would like to watch my in-depth breakdowns of each class, you can definitely go watch those. As opposed to this, I already have 4 out and I'm working on the next 2, the Graveborn and the Spore Warden, the next 2 that we just got information about. So I'm going to be posting those after this video, but I want to go on and talk to you guys about multi-class. So if you guys do enjoy this, find it helpful, consider doing all the normal YouTube stuff. It really helps me out and our community grow by getting these videos out there for everyone to see. I truly appreciate it. But all right, starting off, multi-class is a thing they announced pretty much when they first announced the game. It's going to be a way you can actually select your normal class and then you're going to be able to kind of just choose whatever other class you want to and get some of their abilities. This is the in-depth page about it. Obviously, if you guys like to go read this for yourself, you can. But if you guys like to hear me talk about it and get my opinions, definitely be sure to stick around. But get it right into the first paragraph. We have the best part of being the Fate Maker, besides all the chaotic fantasy adventures and general badassery, is harnessing the power of 2 mythical classes and becoming a truly hybridized hero. When your journey begins, you'll choose a starting class wielding the strengths and abilities of a Berserker, Clawbringer, Graveborn, Spellshot, Spore Warden, or Stabbomancer. But as you go stronger, you'll gain access to the multi-class system and a new secondary class slot, opening up a world of unique character builds. Each class is defined by a class feat, 2 iconic action skills to choose between, and a skill tree loaded with passive abilities. Alright, so right here, this is actually giving you information about classes itself. Obviously, this is the multi-class thread, but as it says right here, it is defined by a class feat, which I'm not 100% sure what that is. Maybe it's just like a stat-based thing, maybe where you get to choose your backstory to get the additional stats. But then you have 2 iconic action skills, which you've pretty much seen in all the other breakdown videos. And you're going to have a skill tree loaded with passive abilities. Now, I don't know if it's like 1 tier. I would imagine it's 3 tiers like every other Borderlands game. But it does just say a skill tree, but obviously it's probably, if it is just 1, it's going to be a probably huge tree kind of forming into everything. So again, right here, it's just confirming, yes, you choose 1, then you can basically choose another one, and then it just tells what they're defined by. But now getting into the next paragraph, once unlocked, class feats are your always on passive effects, including unique increases to damage output or having a trusted companion fighting by your side. Class feats are equally powerful whether they belong to your primary or secondary class, with both having a huge impact on your playstyle and the stats effects you should prioritize. If you opt for a multi-class combination of the 2 companion classes, Clawbringer, Graveborn, or Spore Warden, both of your durable attack-ready companions will always be fighting by your side, the more the merrier. Alright, so right here, this actually does confirm what the feats are. If you remember, actually, the older videos I posted, every class seems to have their own unique thing. The spell shot gets more fire rate when they cast spells. These 3 have companions, and so there's 3 companion characters and 3 like ability characters. So something you could always do is just have like an actual ability, then a companion, 2 companions, or if you want multiple abilities, you can as well. With no companions, just go alone. Obviously, there's a lot of combination you do there, but it also says it's going to include increases to your damage output. And obviously, it also says that these are passive effects that are always on. So you're going to be able to have 2 of these. And it also says that they're going to be equally powerful when it's your primary or secondary class. Even if you choose 2 companions, both of your companions are going to do the exact same amount of damage as if it was your main class. So that's actually really cool if you're trying to do like a pet-based build. I'm actually really excited for that. Then it also just says that these are huge impact on your playstyle. So I would imagine building around what their feats actually are is going to be a huge part, and then the skill tree probably is obviously just going to enhance that. But then on top of that, you also have your action skill that can also cause some mayhem as well. But moving on to the next paragraph, your chosen class's action skills have the biggest impact on your moment-to-moment gameplay, with splashy effects that can instantly turn the tide of the battle and give you the upper hand. Action skills have a relatively short cooldown, letting you unleash the might multiple times during most fights, but not so short that you'll be spamming them constantly. You can equip 1 action skill at a time, though you'll have a total of 4 to choose from between the 2 multi-class selections. Okay, so back up to the top where it was saying that each class has their own 2 iconic action skills. So now if you actually choose your multi-class, your second class, you're going to have 4 action skills in total. So you're going to have access to their feat, action skills. Then I would imagine you're probably also going to have access to their skill tree. But it does say that you can only equip 1 action skill at a time. So maybe if you have your main class, you probably want to keep your main class action skill, since it doesn't say anywhere that the action skill is going to be equally as powerful like it did in the last paragraph. I would imagine they probably are, but they are just classic action skills. They have a pretty reasonable cooldown, and you can use them to enhance the fight, kind of just blow things up, just like in every other Borderlands game. And once again, we've seen these action skills as well. Again, if you guys would like to go watch those in-depth videos, you can go check those out and you can look at all the action skills. But now, next paragraph, Finally, each class skill tree is where you'll get a comprehensive view of your progress and ever increasing power over time. With each level you gain, you'll have an extra skill point to spend in either one of your trees, and you'll need to pick and choose carefully where you allocate them, as it's impossible to fill up every ability across both of your skill trees because, you know, balance. As you invest more points to a skill tree, you unlock more sections with stronger effects at your disposal as you further commit to a given class. If you decide that you want to rearrange your skill points, you can do so for a reasonable sum of in-game gold at any quick change station. Okay, so again, right here, classic skill trees. If you go further into a skill tree, you're going to get stronger effects. You can diverse them if you want to. But the interesting part is that it does say with each level you gain, you'll have an extra skill point to spend on either one of your trees. So I don't know, again, this might just be a one skill tree thing for your main character, and then once you get multi-class, you have access to their second skill tree. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but it definitely seems to just each have one skill tree, being that there are 6 classes in the game. But I would imagine the skill tree is going to be pretty big, and then you're just going to have access to a second one, and you can allocate them wherever. So from these 3 paragraphs alone, it definitely seems that the multi-class is not just going to be like a little extension to your main character. It seems like you actually just going to have the second class. If you're going to have access to their whole skill tree, you're going to have access to their feat that is on the exact same level as if you would choose the normal class. And you have access to all the action skills as well. The only thing is kind of worrisome is that it doesn't list in the skill tree and active skill that it's on the same level as it does in the character feat tab. But from reading, it definitely does seem that they're just gonna kind of be the same thing. We'll have to obviously wait and see when the games come out to see the different balances between both. But again, from reading this, it may just be one skill tree. I don't want to say it specifically because of the way it's worded, but it may be one, then you get 2, or it may just be classic Borderlands skill trees. I will say I can't imagine all 6 classes having 3 separate skill trees, especially if you're going to be able to multi-class, because then you would have 6 skill trees to choose from, which obviously is really cool. But I just don't think they're going to go about that. I think it is just going to be one huge skill tree. Then you can get a second huge skill tree when you choose your second class. But now, last paragraph, consider your primary and secondary class sections carefully, as they'll have a huge impact on the many ways your Fate Maker can stylishly vanquish evil. Once you complete the main story campaign, you'll unlock the option to switch your secondary class should you choose. But your primary class is forever. If you want to wield the power of all possible multi-class combinations, get ready to roll some alternate characters. Okay, so honestly, that paragraph right there pretty much is more heavily leaning towards the theory I was talking about with the 2 huge skill trees, because right here, obviously, it says consider them carefully because they play a huge impact. But once you complete the main story, you'll have access to actually swap your multi-class. I was thinking that, like, once you beat the campaign, you could access multi-class, but this is actually saying once you beat the main campaign, you unlock the option to switch your secondary class. So at the start of the game, you're already going to choose your main class and secondary class, which is going to give you access to 2 of those skill trees, which I think is probably the way it's going to go. And then once you beat the campaign, you can obviously start respecing, changing your class up if you want to try something else. And then obviously, is if you want to wield the power of all the classes, you pretty much have to make all 6 of the classes if you want to, but then you can obviously transfer that secondary class whenever you want to do that as well. But that is multi-class. I hope this helped you guys out. Pretty much the TLDR is once you start the game, you're going to choose your main class, which is going to stick with you forever. You're also going to select your multi-class. You're going to have access to everything that each class has, even if you were to choose your multi-class as your main class. You're going to have access to all the skill trees. You're going to have access to the character feat. You're going to have access to all their action skills, which in total, when you start the game, you're pretty much going to have 2 passive abilities, 4 action skills. And from pure guessing right here, probably 2 skill trees. It's either going to be 2 big skill trees or 6 small skill trees. We still don't exactly know which one yet. And then once you beat the game, you can actually start swapping that secondary class out. But again, you always have to keep that main class. There's going to be some crazy combinations you can do with this. Obviously, things like 2 companions. You can go pure DPS with something like Stabomancer and Spell Shot. Cannot wait to see what everybody comes up with. But let me know what 2 classes you're going to combine and look forward to the most. I'm definitely excited. I'm still leaning towards Graveborn, Spell Shot. That's probably the ones I'm going to probably go with first. But I'll have to wait and see. I'm going to look into the characters more. But I do think this is a really cool system, and I cannot wait to mess with it when the game comes out. But that's going to do all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.